too. Whereas if Freedom wins this match right here today, they will stay out of the Crucible, and No Tomorrow will be going there.
And we already know Naventic is stuck down in Crucible range for the rest of us. There is no hope for them. They will be one of the two teams, and like you said, this is the match that is not 100% depending on who wins, but it is so very likely the loser of this is that second team.
There's gotta be so much pressure on these players.
Yeah. I mean, it's... especially because, like, you know, Naventic feels it already, the fact that they could potentially lose their job here at HGC, depending if they can manage to survive. But it's for these younger teams like Freedom and, you know, No Tomorrow, those are the ones that that pressure, how can they really withhold that world on their shoulders? Yeah,
I want to return to that once we get into the matchup more because of how we know the players and how we know the team dynamics. But first, let's check in with the schedule so you know what all will be happening today in North American HGC, as well as see what you might have missed in Europe. Playing Ducks beat Synergy rather handily, 3-1 victory. But I'm looking at Team Expert over Team Liquid. It wasn't even a 3-2, being able to take out one of the big three. Maybe making a new era, ushering in a new era for EU HGC. We'll close out today with Team Naventic versus Team 8. Naventic had an amazing showing versus Tempo Storm last week.
Yeah.
Maybe able to get an upset of their own here, but No Tomorrow versus Team Freedom. We got to see Team Freedom on the 2.0 patch yesterday. We have yet to see No Tomorrow, but Team Freedom started out things, game number 1, drafting what we would expect from them. Game 2 on Braxis, way opposite of new things. So it makes us wonder if they've had the time to adapt to the 2.0 patch. And we honestly don't know at all if No Tomorrow has.
Yeah, we have no information, and that's going to be a huge advantage for No Tomorrow going into this series. The fact that there hasn't been a single draft, no hint to priority whatsoever, whereas that's not the case for the other side of the battlefield, right? In Freedom, it's hard to judge whether or not they've had enough time. I feel like after watching that game number 1 being so very rigid in what they're used to doing, and then game 2 being so the opposite, that it feels like it was more of a panic coming out from them. That adjustment within the draft to where I feel like I give No Tomorrow the upper hand as long as they put in the prep here. That it doesn't feel like 2.0 patches benefited Freedom that well.
Yeah, the one thing I would say that maybe Freedom has going for them from that is they were able to test things a little bit better than No Tomorrow has had without being able to have a true competitive match on the new patch. Let's hear from the teams themselves before we get into this more. Before we're ready for this first match, this is No Tomorrow versus Team Freedom.
Next match against Team Freedom, it decides a lot. It really decides on who goes to the Crucible and who doesn't. So this is going to be probably one of our most important matches. We have to go all out basically on this game. We have to definitely prove that we are at least top 8, at least if not top 6.
Last time that we lost against No Tomorrow, we prepared poorly for the matchup. This time around though, knowing the value of the victory and also that we shouldn't take any enemies for granted, we prepared way more. We're a different team too in the second phase. So this time I think we're gonna have a better showing just because we're way more prepared than the last time around.
The players have set the stage. Let's talk about the history of these two teams and where they have come from throughout phase 1. No Tomorrow, people came in, they had a lot of hope for this team, but we knew that there were players on this team that had difficulties with teams before, so much so that they were only able to beat Team Freedom. One series win they had in part 1, and then everyone thought they would fall apart, but then somehow, some way, they were able to turn things around, making a better atmosphere for themselves. And Team Freedom, they are our new team, a lot of new members to the pro hero scene here in North America. Knowing that, they have had a good atmosphere before. Who do you think is going to handle the pressure better, especially given that you have been in these kinds of situations before yourself?
I would say experience is always going to be a better tool in the competitive world. Whenever you can rely on a past experience to cross-compare to benefit and improve on the next time, even if the last one was terrible, catastrophically bad, and you can use that experience and learn from it moving forward, I would say that because of that, No Tomorrow, their experience, I would give them an advantage when it comes to pressure.
Well, that is maybe scary for Freedom.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell. It is hard to know. We have heard from them before, though, that they've been able to take losses well within the team, and they're going to need that, given what happened yesterday. They only won one game in their series, and they will be the first ones choosing Battleground. They've chosen Towers of Doom for game number 1.
Towers of Doom. This has been a really interesting map on how it's been played out in part number 2 for North America. Knowing the map, though, I don't look at this as Freedom gaining an upper hand either, in the fact that they've chosen it. I feel like No Tomorrow looks very, very comfortable, especially the performance that we talked about it yesterday that they had against Tempo.
Yeah.
I mean, they just shut Tempo down on a map that used to be very Tempo Storm dominated. And the fact that Freedom ended up choosing that for map number 1 in the series, it makes me optimistic that they've got something crazy in their back pocket for this series.
I'm looking at the bans, too. We had a ban on Warhead Junction and Battlefield of Eternity. I love the Battlefield ban for Team Freedom. I think a lot of teams would look at No Tomorrow on paper and say, well, they love Dragonshire, but this has been a common theme for No Tomorrow is they choose Dragonshire and then don't win on it. They've been very unlucky on that particular battleground, so much so that they've started to shift into liking Battlefield of Eternity. So that won't be a tool at all that No Tomorrow gets. Whereas a ban on Warhead Junction, yes, Freedom has picked it a couple of times, but I don't see that as Freedom being like, curses! We don't get to go to Warhead Junction.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. I think that's a really valid point that you make. And also, when we were referencing the data that the teams have when it comes to the information on this map, the fact that Freedom, once again, is choosing to go to Towers of Doom. They did that against Team 8. So now we not only have data on 2.0 patch for Team Freedom on Towers of Doom, but we've got it from the exact same pick ban rotation. That is going to be a very big advantage that No Tomorrow has here in this series.
Yeah, which is why they've banned Abathur right from the get-go. It was an Abathur Zeratul rotation that Team Freedom played versus B-Step yesterday, or Team 8 yesterday. So now what do No Tomorrow want to pick? In the past, on Towers of Doom, there have been a lot of triple warrior games with Zarya, and Zarya is available, but she did see some nerfs in the last patch.
One thing I've found already really strange with the Zarya Tassadar phenomenon in 2.0 is the fact that Zarya was considered a big deal, but Tassadar was considered a major problem. And yes, Tassadar did receive more nerfs, but the fact that Zarya seems to see more attention than that of the Tassadar, especially because universally he's just been considered a safe pick, no matter the map, no comp, no situation, but yet Zarya seems more to be getting more attention in the pick phase. Either way, though, with this draft, No Tomorrow going with the Zeratul. Team Freedom has got the Falstad and the Malfurion.
Quickly picking Falstad and Malfurion despite No Tomorrow taking Zeratul. So No Tomorrow had banned one of the heroes and then picked the other that Team Freedom picked in their first rotation yesterday versus Team 8. And Team Freedom already seemed like they had no interest in that. Maybe because Abathur was already banned, they wanted to make sure that Collusion gets his Malfurion, which has been a constant, and then having Falstad for some global control. Yeah,
it's been a lot of focus onto global control, exactly that, between these teams, and having the Zeratul as a response to the Falstad is going to be a pretty big benefit for No Tomorrow. I'm curious to see what warrior we go with. Do we see No Tomorrow kind of go with that Anuba Rack, something that saw a lot of focus when it came to the bans yesterday? It does synergize a bit with Zeratul.
What about Murden, though? Airho's been playing so much Murden, and that's one of their highest win rate heroes right now.
Yeah. There it is. And there's going to be the Greymane backing it up. A lot of dive, a lot of kill potential out of the composition of No Tomorrow. Freedom's got a nice amount of disengage counter momentum, too, when it comes to team fighting. And there is the Uther ban. Really heads-up ban here, I think, coming out from Freedom. Not only considering the power of Uther right now, I think he is a... I don't know, that's a whole nother conversation on his Malf versus Uther, but in general, a pretty real competitor to Malfurion when it comes to the support meta.
Yes, because of what we saw yesterday with both Roots and Twilight Dream being able to give extra armor. It's almost like you sap some of the power that Malfurion gives to a team by having that, as well as the combo that Uther would have with Greymane, letting him have the invulnerability to dive the backline.
It seems to be kind of forcing the Malfurion into using a Twilight Dream only as an executioner, and you never really want to be doing that. You want to use the pause button that you get through stalling out everybody, their abilities by not being able to cast anything. That is the real value of Twilight Dream. The damage is neat. The passive mana is actually really underestimated, but it is more the disabling and buying that bit of time into these team fights.
This likely will be Jason's Greymane. He's been playing Greymane a lot more in the past couple of weeks, whereas in part 1 it was almost only Tychus and Vala, and his Greymane is quite good. He gets an average of 3 kills per game, so looking to execute our first... Is this our first Cassia?
Yeah.
Our first Cassia!
Well, NA. We've already had a U, but yes.
She was only banned yesterday.
Yes, she was only banned. So we are going to experience Cassia for the first time in North America. a lot of things to talk about when it comes to her. And in terms of compositions, I would say naturally she thrives against melees with auto attacks. Turns out there's a lot of those on the side of No Tomorrow. So that was a really heads-up pick here for Freedom. And we'll see, you know, how she can make things happen. I got a lot to talk about on her level 1.
Her build is so synergistic.
Yes.
The same build that we see. So it's exciting. We get to talk about her finally. We've been waiting. We are the last of the big regions to actually pick her up in a draft.
So then what does that mean here for this composition? Freedom's got a lot of single target damage, a lot of counter momentum in the team fights and their global.
Looking for Tiger's hero, Rhaegar is still a possibility if he wants to get that. Ancestral healing to help out Greymane. So full dog comp. Oh.
Wow, that is so much put onto the Zeratul double reset right now. With No Tomorrow committing to the Greymane, probably a go for the throat. Doesn't have to be. But then the Li Ming there, if they get those resets, that is a draft that for a while was very popular in the European region, double reset. And it's very intimidating when you have a setup like a Void.
Team Freedom, maybe just picking another warrior here to be able to stop that sort of reset from happening. Another beefy health bar so that Falstad and Cassia can be more of the focus of Malfurion. Cassia is rough. With her range, she has to get up into the fight a little bit. And so that may be the possibility of where the resets could start for No Tomorrow in fights.
Yeah, and there is going to be the last pick, a new Barak. Really smart considering, again, you need higher health pools to be able to deal with this double reset burst out of the Void. But then more importantly, there is still a lot of spell damage between Flask and Li Ming. Flinging out her spells left and right. New Barak's going to gain a lot of value there. So I do like what we saw, especially out of that last pick coming up from Freedom. I'm going to be honest, it's a little bit hard for me to gauge the power of Cassia because she has moments where I look at her and I'm like, she's insane. And she has others where I'm like, this hero's useless. I don't understand why it was picked. I feel like in this comp, it's going to be one of the better ones. One of the situations where we can see her thrive just because Zeratul should not be able to, you know, kind of one-shot her like we normally see Zeratul players do. They should be able to hold their own in the Greymane, and then melees is where she suddenly becomes that much more terrifying.
I agree. She has had a difficult time in other regions, definitely. I think still, did she win in Europe today?
I believe so. I believe so, yeah.
So then that and MVP Black were able to also secure a victory with her, but people are still figuring her out. But I'm excited to see this from Team Freedom, more adaptations and something they didn't show yesterday.
Yeah.
Importantly, that they're still able to bring to the table versus No Tomorrow. Such an important matchup between these teams. No Tomorrow, this is a squishy draft, and Anubarak is going to wreak havoc on Li Ming, trying to make sure she can get resets.
Oh, yeah.
Things will get better when she gets Calamity. That's a big one, too. Maybe even Illusionist, depending on what they want to pick. I would say that more survivability would be good with the type of composition that No Tomorrow has. We're ready for this game, so let's get right into it. Game number 1 on Towers of Doom. Winner of this stays out of the Crucible.
Not so much the game, but the entire series more so. But with their life on the line here in the blue, Team Freedom, Collusion is going to be playing the Malfurion. Zugrug is going to be our variant player. The secondary warrior is Insomnia on a new Barak. Falstad, the only global for Freedom, is going to be played by Dansky. And Nasmus here on the only Cassia we've had so far.
And the members of No Tomorrow are in red. Support player Tiger JK playing Rhaegar. Erho playing his Muradin once again. Playing Li Ming, of course, is Talking Tree is known for this hero for a long time. Casanova once again showing us his prowess on Zeratul. And finally, Jason busting out the Greymane.
So already here at the level 1, Charge Strikes picked for Nasmus on the Cassia. What that does is a tool that you can activate to increase your basic auto attack damage by 25%, and they will bounce to nearby allies for 8. It is ridiculous. The AoE, if any members are close to the single target, which is why I was talking about the melees, what she's good into, the Charge Strikes at level 1 against melees because they're going to be clumped up. They take all that bonus splash damage, and this is, for me, at least so far, my experience playing Cassia, one of the only selling points to her.
Must-get.
Yes.
It is a must-get talent. And think about in areas where we see a lot of fights happening on Towers of Doom, like the areas around bottom sappers, invading sappers, that could be just a huge selling point for Team Freedom to be able to invade the sappers of No Tomorrow. Zugrug's been caught. He is variant, so he had one parry, but he does not have shield wall yet. Those body blocks are insanity from Tiger JK. No Tomorrow gets first blood of the series.
Very good use there of the totems and the teamwork to get the first pick of the game. No Tomorrow pulling a step ahead here. A minute in. Dansky gets caught out. Casanova realizing that's not a fight he wants as Insomnia flutters from behind.
So with charged strikes in the Cassia build, at level 7 you get Surge of Light, which is another big area burst damage, and the area is quite large that she could deal damage with. And then it combos with things like Martial Law, which is such an insane talent at level 16. Your basic attacks versus slowed stun rooted targets, of which they have many things to be able to add to that, does 3% of the hero's maximum health. You combo that, man, she can dish out damage in an area, and with so many squishy targets of No Tomorrow, Rhaegar will be taxed to keep his team alive.
Yeah, it will be very, very difficult. Talking about the invade you were referencing before, we have got ourselves one, 3 versus 4. Greymane looking to get the collapse. Urho moving in, a lot of damage onto Insomnia, but he's not burrowing away yet. As the stall game is there, everybody coming together, and it looks like the Sapper going over to Freedom, but can they get the pick on Urho? The burrow over the wall, was it too far? It was! Punishment coming out from No Tomorrow.
Jason just lying in wait to get the kill on the bug, and Zagra will go down too, again, before he can get shield wall to protect himself versus more damage. Alter phase starting. Casanova was channeling, stopped for a second, did not want to lose out because his health bar is low. Urho has made a quick rotation to the top to try to steal the altar away from Team Freedom side of the map. They are going to get all 3 of these.
All 3 shots for No Tomorrow, showing, you know, maybe that the early game that they had against No Tomorrow, or excuse me, Temple Storm was absolutely no fluke. They are very comfortable in the first couple of minutes and rotations on No Tomorrow, and they have an absurd lead here already in this series with 3 kills above, a level, and we'll say a quarter advantage, and then 12 shots onto the core. I mean, that's a dream, right? When you talk about what is the farthest ahead you could be on Towers of Doom, they are near that already in this game.
Right. A lot of times when you talk about the dream, the perfect game, getting all of the altars, having a 40-0 core health, you don't because of that phase right there, because you just can't contest. Respawn timers are too low. But No Tomorrow, with enough picks and fast rotations, get all 3 of the altars, putting them at such a fantastic start to this game number 1. Looking at level 4 Inner Light, not always is this particular talent taken, but in this case, since there is like Storm Bolt, there's a stun there, it's possible that if Cassia gets collapsed on, once she gets stunned or rooted, it's cast on her location. So this Blinding Light cast down, she does more damage to blinded targets, and it might just buy her life.
I actually really like that talent, considering the fact that the damage, not only is the initiation through a hard CC, the Murden sitting on the other side, but it's that the follow-up is melees, right? It's when, so for instance, if they had a double backline and a Murden, that talent doesn't make near as much sense, right? Yes. But the fact that it's a Greymane and a Zeratul, both of them then have the opportunity to be affected by the Inner Light, getting the blind, not only increasing her damage, but upping her survivability to extreme.
And it also increases the radius of Blinding Light too, so making her have more effective of area damage if she can get that cast off on a lot of the members of No Tomorrow. No Tomorrow sitting at level 7, Team Freedom almost there as the next altars are about to activate. Freedom will have 7 to contest these in the nick of time. They're starting to move down. Not quite yet. They do have 3 in the bottom to delay while the rest get level 7, and now the rotations begin.
So there's the double blind once more. A lot of damage coming out from Li Ming on to Nasmus. Flight coming down for Dansky as the channel for a Nubarak on the mid shrine is completing. 4 shots sent back, and No Tomorrow. Bottom shrine's all that is left standing. Jason gets ambitious, doesn't get hit by the knockup, and things are fine.
Casanova sharking around to the side to see who he can catch in the back. But that was the first cast seeing of Inner Light to keep Nasmus alive, while Malfurion can heal him back up. There's Surge of Light now too, to combo and get more area damage from Nasmus, so he continues to level up even more and more. There he is. Casanova dives to Nasmus once again.
Got a bit of damage, but nobody's fallen too low. Everybody's sitting above the 90% threshold. At least for now, Urho got the tap. He's going to get that mana. He's looking to come back. Zugrug doesn't complete the channel, and Casanova actually looking for the initiation onto Dansky. He gets it on the top half, though. A battle here. 3 versus 3. No Tomorrow falling lower in the health pool than maybe they had liked.
But the benefit for No Tomorrow is that Falstad was forced to fly down here, so the Team Freedom are not even soaking in another lane. So No Tomorrow are continuing the experience advantage that they've gotten, and they could do this. They have tools to poke for a very long time, as long as Urho makes sure that he is the person that eats things like stuns, like roots.
Yeah, he needs to be the one taking the damage there. Another interrupt coming out from Varian. There's Zugrug can easily tank that damage. Falsta's actually flying away. He's going top to soak, forfeiting these shots, but that's a very big wave. So Freedom will be able to catch up a lot in experience, but losing 4 more shots there onto the core.
So far, Freedom have only been able to capture 1 altar, 36-24, but it's Towers of Doom. The game is never over until the last shots are fired onto the core. No Tomorrow once again are going to invade the sappers of Team Freedom. There's the stun and Inner Light.
The Inner Light, Nasmus still able to peel away their Urho overextended, getting body blocked out by Varian. Zugrug being a wall, saying you shall not pass, and he gets a kill, but it costs him their sapper.
Does catch Team Freedom up in the experience game slightly too, especially since No Tomorrow have been largely sticking together as a group versus the split soak of Team Freedom. Falstad went to the top, Anubarak has been sitting in the mid. So regardless, even though Team Freedom were down so far in the early game in experience, they should get their heroic abilities first.
We'll see what we see out of the Anubarak heroic here at 10. It's going to be the Locust Swarm. No Cocoon to buy more counter momentum. I thought for a moment we might see that as an attempt, especially just mainly because Locust Swarm was nerfed quite heavily in the 2.0 patch.
Ball Lightning from Cassia. Again, No Tomorrow has a composition that can be grouped a lot.
1W, good night, my sweet Vorpal, goodbye. Casanova there putting on a clinic, getting the first pick, and that is another kill going over to No Tomorrow. Or excuse me, Team Freedom, but the pick on the other side, the Li Ming dying. Wow. Just battle everywhere. A
1-for-1, and Ball Lightning was used in that engagement to get kill for Li Ming. Now Anubarak might be in trouble once again, trying to stop Greymane and Casanova from getting these.
He popped the Locust Swarm, which is deterring No Tomorrow from moving up and staying on that. Obviously, you can't trade up into that, but I figured some members of No Tomorrow may want to rotate up to try and get that collapse on a 90-second cooldown being offline.
But the 90-second cooldown's coming in. It's just Sappers on top. No Tomorrow still have a healthy bell tower, and the bottom lane is where the next altar is spawning.
The one thing to really look at, we haven't seen a team fight in this game, but 4 heroics don't exist on the side of Team Freedom right now. And every heroic exists for No Tomorrow. So what looked like a beginning of a balanced and fair fight is very much not going to be the case.
Yeah, forcing that Locust Swarm was huge for No Tomorrow in this engagement over the next altar, especially since this is caught up in experience for either side. Taunt from Varian, he's going in, so is Arrow on the other side. Collusion's been caught by Casanova. Void Prison hits 3. Now can they get on Collusion? They can't. Zugrug's keeping everybody at bay.
Exactly. Perfect body blocking to make sure the Li Ming orb and all that damage could not follow there after the Void. That is going to be on cooldown for another 87 seconds here. 6 seconds for Twilight Dream to come back. The taunt did happen, but no kills yet to be gained. Collusion finishes the channel. Ancestral Healing lands onto Jason. Urho goes in. Does he get a Storm Bolt? No, not yet. But it looks like Freedom might be able to make it out.
Man, this Inner Light has been doing a lot to keep Nasmus alive throughout fights. Twilight Dream hit many of No Tomorrow and did force them back. So no kills in those fights, and importantly, Team Freedom zoned just long enough for Collusion to capture the altar.
24-32 is going to be the HP of the cores. Team Freedom still down against No Tomorrow after what was, as we talked about, a flawless first altar rotation, but there is still a moment to recover. They still have that global that can get that side soak out. We can see the, the 5th altar phase, which is going to be 3 altars, much like the first, is where Team Freedom might be able to catch up there, again, because of that global.
No Tomorrow has been sending Zeratul and Greymane Falstad hunting quite a lot. They've been able to get picks here and there. They are collapsing now. Maybe they can get a pick before Falstad flies in and is able to gust away. Ball Lightning just jumping between all the members of No Tomorrow.
It gets them very low, but not a kill. Still 25 seconds there for Twilight Dream to come back, and 50 for Lightning Ball. See if No Tomorrow can try and take advantage of the lack of cooldowns, but for now it's just more of holding the rotations. They do sniff out Dansky up here. Urho, not even needing a Dwarf Toss.
Oh, Casanova.
He was, if he didn't blink about half a second later, he was just going to die right there. So that was very clutch teleport coming out from him.
Level 13 here for all teams. Grounding Bolt is different than what we've seen from other Cassia players before, but does offer a slow to the team off of Lightning Fury.
7 seconds, and we're gonna have our alters back up here. Same talent tier, so maybe just gonna be a trade. That would benefit maybe Freedom, I would say, if anybody, to trade these shots just purely based on the fact that they have the false stat factor, that late game global that you can pressure your opponents out, and not fighting off more than you can chew early on is a safer play for them than that of No Tomorrow.
It also feels like Team Freedom has gotten some momentum in this game despite being so colossally down in the early game. No Tomorrow wants to take that back though. Ball lighting bouncing back and forth between Arrow and Nasmus. Already done. Collusion catches Casanova. Zugrug wants to continue that, diving in with a taunt. There is a Storm Bolt.
There's a Void. It's a full 5-man No Tomorrow party. What happens after the Void? First the pick, Twilight Dream, only gonna land onto Tiger JK there. Casanova got a bit of damage. There's the Locust Swarm, the Gust, putting them in terrible position, making them meet the wall of death, but they're still standing. Zeratul, the only one dead here for No Tomorrow, as they get the pick right onto the false.
Dansky's already gone down. No Tomorrow deciding that they cannot continue this fight. They're low in mana, low in health, and maybe biting off more than they can chew in that positioning with the Gust, but still getting the better end of the team fight, rotating to take the sappers as quickly as they can. That bottom bell tower is starting to get low, and making sure that they can make this quick rotation has allowed No Tomorrow maybe to start playing that macro game and focus on the bell towers.
One thing that we do see far different between No Tomorrow and Team Freedom here already in this series is the fact that there is no downtime. Both of these teams have been some of the first to be like, is the objective up? And if the answer is no, it's kind of just like, well, there's not much to be doing. But this entire game, all 13 minutes of it, there has been an objective, a heavy rotation, and something to fight over. It just shows how much the series means to these guys.
I definitely agree. I hope we continue to see that throughout the series too. Bringing the fight right out of the gates in game number 1, and it has been a close game. It started out No Tomorrow having a lead, but Team Freedom have clawed back. They are right neck and neck with experience.
Oh, Dansky, the Singularity Spike missed. He survives. So now 2 people committed to the shrines, or the altars, excuse me, up on top. Well, it's a 3-man party down below. Falset can start that top left channel. He will. So that is going to be a huge advantage here for Freedom. They need to abuse this global.
Yeah, Falstad needs to fly down, and Nubarak is still stopping. He has such long-range poke. Jason doing everything he can to stop a Nubarak from stalling this, but he cannot. Collusion will channel this. Falstad flies in, but barrel rolls away, scared of trees hitting him with a lot of damage as soon as he lands. An unwelcome landing for Falstad potentially.
And with those 4 shots, Team Freedom has managed to almost balance out the game. Not quite there, just 1 altar away if bell towers are going to be even. The invade is going to happen though as it's sniffed out. Herho, dwarf tossing in, pops the avatar. Gus pushes him off, but Dansky takes so much damage from Casanova, but the ball of lightning ripped him below. There is the Ancestral.
That was a little too close for comfort for Casanova, but he stays alive. They can continue on in this fight. Casanova is starting to head back in. Singularity Spike allows him to Seeker onto Varian. Varian low does not have any other way of negating damage, and No Tomorrow get a quick kill in the fight.
And a bell tower to boot on bottom with this rotation. They are going to pick up the bell tower, convert it into their favor, and No Tomorrow once again is pulling ahead here in this game with their 16 talent tiers. That Ancestral in the last team fight though, because Casanova did a great job of applying pressure to the proper targets, and then the minute the ball of lightning was in on top of him, he took a lot of damage, and I thought for a moment Tiger Chikane couldn't get to him to get that heal off, but that was really, you know, the beginning of the end of that fight for Freedom.
Yeah, Casanova getting back too to help make sure that Tiger JK could heal, and Tiger has been doing a phenomenal job of keeping everybody from No Tomorrow alive, but it also comes down to the team. Airho knows exactly how much damage he can take. Trees hasn't been put under any pressure at all this game. It has just been Casanova and Greymane trading back and forth, making sure that if one person needs the Ancestral, the other person is nowhere near needing it.
Yeah, that's a really good point that you bring up, because we often, at least I do, harp on, like, you know, target priority and what healers in what situations, and it's always, you know, with Illidan compositions or mainly Rhaegar enabling compositions, you can never have 2 targets. You just can't. And Rhaegar is so good at helping one, but terrible when it comes to babying multiple at the same time.
Yeah, and this would look to be a composition that struggles with that because of Zeratul and Greymane.
Yeah, but they are doing a phenomenal job kind of using Casanova there with the Twilight, or Void Prison, excuse me, to buy a bit of time. Beautiful teleport and max range disintegrate gets the first delay, but Dancy is going to restore the channel. Urho goes in, he stops it.
He dwarf tosses a Void Prison that has hit to Casanova and the rest of the team. Not sure who to follow in and kill. Locust Swarm procced from Insomnia, so now Team Freedom have lived through the most important heroic ability. Cocktail did not stop this, and an Alter picked up from Team Freedom. Urho dwarf tosses away No Tomorrow. No need to fight. Team Freedom, they have this experience advantage. They didn't have a favorable positioning. Maybe this will work better.
Yeah, they were like, yeah, you know, we don't want that fight, but we'll take the next we can get. Nasmus is still not yet to join. Okay, he's going to be in fine position now. Zugrug moves up to match Urho on point. Urho falling low. There's the taunt. The Ancestral lands.
Oh,
he gets it.
My goodness. Tiger JK, are you kidding me?
He even used the Earth Shield there that he has out of his 13 talents here to just baby the HP just enough at that last tick to make sure he lands it there again. Abusing that single target enabling that Rhaegar is so very good at. But Tiger JK is keeping his team ahead here in this game as another invade over a Sapper camp.
The only thing is that No Tomorrow have used a lot of their abilities. Void Prison has a really long cooldown. They don't have Avatar either, but they're still willing to take this fight. Singularity spikes on Collusion as he Seeker in. They're looking for that kill to take out Malfurion, and they'll take Cassia down with them.
Yeah, the Ice Block is merely a stall game here as Collusion ends up falling. That is going to be the third parry as well. Zugrug falls with... No, wait, does he get this a disengage flask? Oh, I thought he might be able to for a second there. And that was not off cooldown, but either way, a very successful team fight once more for No Tomorrow. And with 3 members down, 20 just eking towards them, I am very confident that they are going to paint this map red and make it a lose-lose situation here for Freedom.
Dread, how the heck did No Tomorrow do that? They didn't have Void, they didn't have Avatar, and they didn't have Ancestral. Yes, there were cooldowns down on the other side.
I actually have an answer for that. I am going to go out of my way to try and get that as a replay at the end of the game. Jason single-handedly won that fight by just having some of the best kiting and game sense I've seen in a very long time. And so we will try and get that for you guys by the end of the game. But for now, it is 20-18, and No Tomorrow, the world is their oyster here. Everything is red as we were talking about. Urho goes in. Insomnia should be able to make it out. This is nothing to worry about. It's more about these altars.
He is used as Locust Swarm again, and No Tomorrow continues to hold on to the bell towers while the altar fights commence. No Tomorrow have Greymane picking up their altar. They're going to hold on to these bell towers just as long as they can. One was taken away just before the first altar was started. Ball Lightning jumping back and forth. Once it hits the far enough, they get far enough away. They're able to stop that, so great job by No Tomorrow.
Great job by No Tomorrow. Tiger JK finishes off the channel. Those shots moving into the core. 2 remain here for Team Freedom. What can they do as 20 is still out of reach?
Minion waves pushing mid, minion waves pushing top. Every lane under siege for Team Freedom, and No Tomorrow wants to take full advantage of that while they have Storm talent still over their opponents. Looking to close out this game number 1.
All right, so this bell tower, all right, there we go, we got it. Sorry, I was trying to work on that replay for a moment there, but we in fact are gonna have that for you guys. 20, man, that bell tower up on bottom.
There's sappers here, there are sappers here. This is it if 2 of these get escorted in.
2 is all it takes, and a lot of damage already onto Insomnia. There's going to be first, the Roots buys a bit of time, but they've got rid of those HP. He goes in with the Burrow, they rid of it. They cannot lose off the Sappers, it's Sappylines, at least not yet. Okay, Freedom bought the moment they needed. They've got the 20. Their core, in fact, does have more than 0 HP, so they're in this game.
They are.
But it is... There's still a lot going against them. They're not even in the bell towers. There is 17 shots for No Tomorrow. Traditionally, that's a minimum. There are 3 altars to be captured.
And Freedom have to make hard choices right now and fast. They do not have that top altar. No Tomorrow are going after the sappers on the bottom to either convert that bottom bell tower, or if they can do it fast enough, escort in 2. There is only 1 altar. The best news of the day so far for Freedom.
13 seconds before what could be the end of Team Freedom. Insomnia and the rest of the members are doing a good job of getting early posturing. The taunt comes out. The Burrow lands onto Urho, but he drops the Avatar. There is the Void. Can they get the double reset Dream? Collusion Icebox. Does he Twilight? No, not yet.
Only Jason is there. Twilight Dream now hits Urho. It's all or nothing, trying to take down this Mountain King. Emergent Ancestral Healing once again saves the day for Arrow, and he can go back in. Falstad is down. Gusting Casanova back toward the base. This might be a 1-for-1 as Team Freedom do find Casanova and Zeratul, bringing him down. But Cassia loses her life.
And Talking Trees actually having to blink out, dodging the taunt. Immediately a variant gets turned on. Insomnia with nowhere to run. He gets the cleanse, but it is not enough. That is 5-for-0 wipe. No Tomorrow changes this game, and it makes the comeback there. What? I had my numbers wrong. All right. I was like, oh, they just got a 5-man wipe. No, they clean it up. They get the shots. They get the game. Sorry, I got distracted there. I have too many monitors going on. Hello? What just happened there?
Our production team, I know exactly what happened. They got so hyped from that game, like they were just like, press all the things.
I mean, I was distracted by this monitor for the replay, and I was looking over here, and I was like, where are we right now? All right, well, they did it.
In game one.
In game one. It's long ways to go.
That was one game, but it was everything I wanted from game one.
It had a little bit of everything, you know, and we're actually going to try and take a look here at this replay, the fight that you brought up, and you were so like, how in the world did they manage to actually get this fight?
Talk to me,
It is a lot of it is over your favorite player, Jason, here.
He is my
watch
fave.
what Jason does at this initiation as we get it rolling. So a lot of what he does is he's trying to bait out cooldowns coming out from the members here, mainly Twilight Dream. So Jason there on the left-hand side into the Grey Mane. He's going to move up. He initiates onto Dansky and immediately pulls away. That forces the Twilight Dream, as we see, used there. Then it goes back in. Dansky's out of the fight. He just baited not only a cooldown, he removed a member from this fight, and the whole rest of the fight we can play it at full speed. It's over. They do not have a damage dealer this entire time. Purely off of an initiation, a disengage, drawing a resource, and then re-going back in and being like, what are you going to do? I just traded up almost 90% of my HP for nothing on Falstad. I just realized this game sounds a lot weirder when it's in slow-mo.
As we get back to normal speed.
But it was just that Grey Mane. It was so, I was watching, I don't know why he stood out to me so much in that team fight at first, and it's just like afterwards when he got the Twilight Dream to see, you know, initiated on the other side, and then he was still not even affected by it, and then going back in, it was just like, I was amazed he didn't get the kill 100.